Hello and welcome, agents. Von Deagle here, and welcome to my channel. Haven't really done these vendor reset videos for a while, but I thought I'd go ahead and pick them back up now that I'm playing full time again. So if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and get right out of here in just a second. We're going to start with the clan vendor.
Do you want some?
And we've got Fox's Prayer knee pads with status effect on them. So if you don't have Fox's Prayers, you can get them right here at the clan vendor. The backpack, true patriot backpack. The armor's a little low. It's got skill haste. You could take that, roll the skill haste off for something else, or maximize the armor. If you don't have a true patriot backpack, there's one there. You usually don't buy hardwired stuff. You can craft that. I'm usually full on crafting materials for it, so I'd skip the hardwired. Let's see, the Negotiator's chest piece isn't that bad. 12.7 on the weapon damage, 4.2 on the crit chance. You can either maximize the weapon damage, maximize the crit chance, or add crit damage to it, whatever you need. Socom Mk has max headshot damage for your library if you need it, and in sync, if you did get this, I would probably maximize the marksman rifle damage or take the critical hit damage off for damage target out of cover, damage to armor. This Vector SBR 9mm is kind of low on the SMG damage, the weapon damage, and it's got optimum range. I would pass on that unless you really have to have one, and Breadbasket's not one of my favorite talents. Black Market MK60E6. It's got maximum LMG damage for your library if you need it. Steady-handed for your library if you need it. Other than that, it's a pass on this gun. The FAMAS with on empty. So this is basically the burnout, but not named. It's got 12% assault rifle, 6.5% health, and 10.3 reload speed. If you don't mind having on empty on the gun, you can go ahead and take that reload speed off and put damage to armor, damage target out of cover as needed. If you already have a burnout, I would pass on this. If you don't, this isn't a bad gun. The weapon handling from the on empty is not bad, but you would be better off holding out for a better FAMAS. But if you need one in a pinch, it's right here. Classic M1A got 15% rifle damage and preservation. The crit hit damage is 12 of 17. 5% damage to armor though, so you could maximize the crit damage. It would be 1% off of a max rolled gun. And preservation will help get you some armor back after you get a kill, but it won't add to your damage. This is a pretty solid gun. If you're looking for one and you need one, this is not bad. Or if you just need the 15% rifle damage for your library, I'd go ahead and grab this. A Fenris Mask, 14 out of 15 weapon, 4.5 out of 6 crit, 16.3 out of 20 repair skill. I actually have a build I could use this with, but I need to check it first. But and if you wanted to max out the crit damage on that, you wouldn't have a bad Fenris Mask. This isn't bad here. The Socom, yeah, I guess you could add crit damage on it if you really need some Socom knee pads, but generally people are going with Fox's Prayers for that, as Fox's Prayers are best in slot. So if you don't need it, don't get it. But if you do, it's there, and you can take the repair skill off for crit damage. 10.3 haste on the on skills, 4.3 deflector, no thanks, 8% no thanks, and this is actually an interesting one because with the Firewall Shield, the Striker Shield with Firewall, you get up to a 5% damage bonus per enemy in one slot, and this 1% actually goes into another slot, giving you an extra percentage. So if you wanted to go from, say, 12 to 13 or 13 to 14% damage per enemy, this would be a piece to get. So I'm done here. Let's head off to the next one. I'm gonna check this one outside. That guy inside annoys me.
Glad to
Let's
see you,
see. Percussive maintenance. I do not understand this talent on this with this gear brand. If you want perfect tech support on an Alp Summit backpack, you can take the health off and roll skill damage or skill haste on it, whichever you want. I'm generally not trying to damage things when I've got stuff for repair skill on, so that's going to be up to you. MP7 has max damage to armor on it, unwavering. I would pass on this unless you need the damage to armor for your library. This AUG A3 CQC, 5 out of 6 damage to armor in sync, and I guess you can maximize the assault rifle damage and get some good use out of it, but if not, if you need to sync for your library. I'd pass on this. Skill damage status effect with versatile. No, I'd just pass on this altogether. Fenris, if you need skill haste for a backpack or for a chest piece, you can get this right here. Other than that, I would definitely pass on this one. 10% critical hit damage, no. 622 direct, no. No. And no. Alright, I'm done here. I'm going to head on over to the campus now. And at the theater we have Contractors Gloves. Fox's Prayer at the clan vendor. Contractors Gloves here. I'd go ahead and get these, roll them to armor, or increase that weapon damage. Next up is Spaz 12. I pass on all those. M16A2. Yeah, not with those stats and not with that talent. The Bellstone Armory Gloves. The armor's low. You got crit chance and weapon handling 6 of 8, 4.9 of 6. Here's a crazy thought. Take these and roll them to firearms to give yourself some, not firearms, but weapon damage, so you can get some armor regen on your weapon damage build. Just a thought. Fenris knee pads, explosion hazard. Yeah, you could max out the weapon damage and get some protection from these, but otherwise just pass it. Shock resist, no. Skill haste, no. Holster regen, no. 6%, no. And 5/5 duration, no thanks. So that's all there.
Hostile supply convoy detected.
Over here to the campus now. Catch up to y'all there. Alright, let's see what she has. Carnage. I will pass on that every time. Honestly, an infantry MG5 with Sadist, it will outdamage Carnage any day. Classic M4 for Carbine, no thank you. Stoner, no thank you. Empress Guard with armor regen, explosive resistance. The explosive resistance is a little low. If you wanted to roll skill damage on that and go with armor regen, that wouldn't be a bad idea. That's just a big pass. Repair skill, no. Duration, no. 4 stinger charges if you need them. I actually found out I needed them on one of my characters about a week ago. Cone size, no. And duration, no thank you. Alright, vendor at DZ East.
Looking for anything in particular?
Another Carnage. Shake my head. Pass. Tactical 308. Pass. Black Market EM60 E6. I'm going to pass on that. Hardwired, no thank you. Foundry, low armor. Half-ass armor regen. You can maximize the armor on that, but unless you need a holster, I wouldn't do it. Wyvern, you can maximize. You could take that explosive resistance off or maximize it. That wouldn't be bad. At 1.7 away from max on the skill damage isn't a bad little optimization, but it would cost you. This one here, nah, it wouldn't be worth the trouble. I mean, you could take the status effect off for like weapon handling or crit chance, but I mean, what it'd cost to optimize the rest of it, it's just pass on that. 9.9 skill haste, no, nothing below 11. Work your way to 12. No thanks on that. 4 repair charges if you need it for your hive. Radius, no thanks. Electronics upgrade shock radius, no thanks. I wonder when they're going to get some mods. I wonder when they're going to get some mods for the other traps, the healing trap and the shrapnel trap. We're heading to DZ South now. Okay, DZ South vendor. A Dark Winter. Well, if you didn't get one in the season, here it is. It'll cost way better than this, so I'd pass on this. I pass on a PP19. There's such a disappointment in this game. The Police M4 with accuracy, it really needs more accuracy. No thanks. No thanks on the Magnum, although I do like that gun. Hardwired piece will pass on. True Patriot with crit chance, you could buy this and max out the armor and have a pretty decent crit chance that you can optimize easily enough, so that would be a decent buy. Protector on a Murakami with skill damage and repair skill. So this one does defense, damage, and repair. Okay, I'll pass. Spark on a Overlord chest piece. The weapon damage is about 65-70%, almost 70%. Crit hit damage is about 85%, and 6.5 out of 8 on the weapon handling is about 80%. Yeah, this is a good piece if you need it, but if you're playing in-game or you're not starting some kind of build with Overlord and Spark, I wouldn't bother with it. No, 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 no.
I appreciate the business.
Wide
Alright,
choices,
vendor
excellent
at DZ
prices.
West.
Hello, agent.
Firm handshake. That's not a bad one. The 5.4% crit chance is 0.6 away from max. You can max out the weapon damage there and have a decent piece. But with the crit chance, you get an SMG, and if you use 3 pieces of Sokolov, I would pass on this one unless you need a firm handshake. Super 90, no, not with Future Perfect. Sig, no. Not unless you have to have ongoing directive gloves for something. Hardwired knee pads, no thank you. Petrov defense gloves, not. I wouldn't buy these. Not when you got contractors over at the theater. Bellstone knee pad. I mean, not Bellstone. Empress International knee pads. Now this is an interesting buy. This is something. I might take a look at these later on. I don't have the credits on this character to do it, but I do have them in my bank. I have a build where this could come in real handy, so I'm going to put this on the back burner, put a pin in this, come back to it later. 11% protection from elites. I wouldn't spend Dark Zone credits on a mod unless you're getting a max roll, and you're never going to get that. They're never going to let you have that, so I pass on all those. Alright, I'm going to head to New York. Alright. First vendor in Haven.
Safe
Hey there,
area
you got
detected.
something to trade?
Pass on the MP5. Pass on the G28, not with those stats. I doubt there'll be anything here usable. Petrov backpack, repair skill, skill damage, and protector. Didn't we just see a Murakami one of these? And now this one has weapon damage. This wants to do everything. I would pass on it. Richter and Kaiser, no. Richter and Kaiser. Here's some. I mean, if you were going with the repair skills and you're using a 3-piece Richter and Kaiser, you could max out the hazard protection. No, I wouldn't do that. Take that back. You could take the status effect off for repair skill. That would give you 40% repair skill. You'd get 10% explosive resistance. You can actually 1.5% away from max on the hazard. You would have explosive resistance and hazard protection on this. If you went that route, that wouldn't be a bad buy for this. No, 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 and no. Not unless you absolutely have to.
Trade.
Hey, DOG. MP5A2 with steady-handed. What is it with steady-handed on the MP5s here? No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Although, no, you can talk yourself into it if you want Reformation for a gun to give your guys more healing or give yourself more healing when you're using it, but not at those stats. There's better out there. Just run something. I'll pass on the pistol. Galvanized on a 5.11 backpack with mediocre armor. 7.5 explosive, 7.6 headshot. If you're desperate for galvanized on a backpack. Weapon crit damage and armor regen. I've got better, but I did something similar to this with the build. If you're doing like a backfire build and you want to go 100% max hazard protection, this wouldn't be a bad buy. You could take the armor regen off for hazard protection. You're 11 out of 12% crit hit damage away from max. That's going to leave you kind of low on the weapon damage side, so unless you're desperate to put one of those builds together, I would pass on this. Now this next one, I'm going to be disappointed, of course. Explosion resistance. Crit chance. If that were hazard and crit damage, I'd eat that up, but it's not. So no repair, no repair, nope, nope, and no. So that's it.
Good working with you.
That's all we got this week, guys. We'll see y'all next week. I'm going to go pet DOG and get on out of here.